Good morning. Good morning to you all. My name is Don Daniel, founder of P.I.L.L Method International, a better way to eliminate debt. And I've been on vacation, but I'm back. All right. And today we're going to be talking about turning debt into wealth. Turning debt into wealth. And so if you want to see what we're talking about, if you're over on Clubhouse, we're transitioning over on YouTube. The link is at the top of the page, and we'll put it in the chat as well. So come on over to YouTube, because pretty soon you will hear no audio on Clubhouse. It will be all done. All right. So let's go ahead and jump right in. I've got some things I need to show you about how people understand how debt actually works. And if you want to get involved in this conversation, click on the link that you see in the chat and come in the studio so that we can talk about it this morning. Because see, there are things that you absolutely need to know. The way debt is handled in this country, well, in all countries, but specifically here, because this is where we live. This is where I live. But this video is going out to the entire world. Wherever you live, the way debt is handled is to siphon off your wealth. It is not primarily for the purpose of leveraging and making life better for you. That is not the main purpose of lending money today. Lending money today is primarily to make the lenders wealthy and siphon off your wealth by paying 75 to 80% more interest than you need to pay. So, Don, what do you mean? I make a very good income. We've got our 401k, we've got investments, we have a very nice house. We're able to send our kids to school, and they don't have any loans. What do you mean? What do you mean they're siphoning off our wealth? You see, the way that lending is structured today, you're paying more interest than you need to pay. I'm not saying you can't do well on the system. You can do very well. We have people in our program that make excellent income, and they do extremely well in managing their money. What they don't do is manage the cost of borrowing money. Listen, I need to open this up for you so that you can add this very important aspect of finances to what you're already doing. You may be doing extremely well. I don't care. I don't care who's doing the measurements. You're doing well. But you could be doing better if we understood how lending actually worked. Can I listen? Can I show you? Let me show you something here. Hold on. Let me put something up on the screen here. Let me pull this up first. Okay. And we're going to open these. And I want to show you some things here, because this stuff is crazy. The way things are working out now. Okay. All right. We'll pull this over here and open this up. Okay. And there we are. Okay. All right. Let me share this screen here. There we go. All right. So listen, I want to show you some things here. Here's a $420,000 mortgage, 7%. Okay. I want to break this down right here. Uh-oh. I put one too many zeros in again. I just get so excited. I just keep typing zeros. All right, and there we go. All right. $420,000. That's the median home price in the US right now. And the interest rate is right around 7%. The interest cost on this is $585,000, $585,937.20 on a $420,000 loan for a total payback of $1,005,937.20. Right there. That's how much money that will be flowing out of the family if they buy a $420,000 home and pay on it for the 30 years that the bank wants them to pay on it. So here's my point. If they've got to pay $585,000 in interest, well, specifically $585,937.20 in interest, you can't also invest that money. You can't invest it because you had to give it over to the bank so that they can invest it and make more money. What I am trying to tell you is if you were working with the P.I.L.L method, okay, we got $585,000, okay? What if you could pay only like $190,000 in interest? Okay, 585,500. Okay, let me put this on the screen. Okay, 585,937 and 20 cents. Can't forget the 20 cents. Listen, folks, if you're buying a house and you pay off the entire house except for the 20 cents, do you realize they can come get your house because you're delinquent and you could go into foreclosure for 20 cents? You better believe it. It can be done. All right. So I had to put the 20 cents in. All right. So we'll put the 20 cents in. Okay. And there we go. And let's say we can spend like $190,000 in interest instead. Okay. That's $395,937.20. $395,000 you didn't have to pay for this mortgage. If you don't know that, you're going to pay this $395,000 extra dollars. This is money you don't have to spend. Ladies and gentlemen, in the United States and practically everywhere else that they're charging interest, we're paying 75 to 80% more interest than we need to pay. You can, with your current budget, pay a lot less interest. And if you had that money to invest, you could turn that into great wealth for your families and still own your house and still go on vacation and still send your kids to college. You can do everything else you were doing before except pay almost $400,000 in interest on this loan. You can reduce your interest cost by 75 to 80%. That's what we're talking about here. Turning debt into wealth is leveraging the bank's money so efficiently that you can buy your car, you can use your credit cards, you can buy furniture, you can buy a house, you can buy anything you want on credit, but pay a lot less interest. So you get to use the bank's money for pennies on the dollar. Now, if you like what you're hearing, put a number 9 in the chat. I would love it. I've got some folks in here watching us live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. Okay. So what I want you all to do now, what I want you all to do is this. All right, I see the number nines coming in. I see the number nines coming in. Okay. Can I show you some things here today? All right. That people do not know. We as a society are unaware, so unaware of how mortgage interest actually works. Those people who are professionals, accountants, um, financial planners, mortgage professionals, people who sell mortgages for a living, CPAs. I don't care what your background is in finances. Most people have never been taught how an amortization schedule or a loan actually works. The self-amortizing loan has been around since 1936, and absolutely no education is out there for the general public. Not in one centralized place, not in one book. You have to piece it together by looking all over the place, but you have to know what you're looking for to even piece it together. What is actually going on with these loans? So here's what. Let me break it down. Let's start here. Do you see the very first interest payment on this loan is $2,450 in interest? $2,450 in interest. Let me tell you what's really going on here. Because of how this loan is amortized, only $344.27 goes to principal. So you're borrowing the bank's money, and they're saying, pay us back on time. And when you pay us on this loan at 7%, $344.27 goes to principal. That pays down the loan. But here's what I'm going to charge you this month for having our money. $2,450. There it is. That's how expensive it is to get $344.27 worth of equity. You see, equity is the difference between how much you owe and what the house is worth. So you now have what the house is worth, and now you have paid off $344.27. So you owe less. So you've increased your equity by $344.27. But look how much it cost you to do that. $2,450. Listen, if you believe that $2,450 is too much money to pay to pay down your loan by $344.27, put a 7 in the chat. Put a number 7 in the chat if you believe that $2,450 is too much money to pay in interest for paying off your loan by $344.27. Can I share with you what's really going on? So if you take a look, thank you, Stacy. I see you, Stacy. I see you, Mister. I see. Oh, Facebook user. You got to give Facebook permission to use your name. So Facebook user, if you want us to know who you are, you're going to have to type your name in in the comment section because I can't see it. It just says Facebook user. Okay. All right. So here's what you need to see, folks. I'm going to break down for you how the bank is going about charging us all of this interest and what we can eventually do about it. Okay. So if I got to pay $2,450, here is my payment. Okay. My total payment is $27.94.27. So what I'm going to do, all right, is put in the amount of interest that we're paying. Okay, here's how much interest we're paying in the first payment, $2,450. Okay, we divide that by our total payment. which is $27.94.27. So we're going to divide that by $2,794.27. Here's what's going on, and people don't realize what's happening. Do you see this? 0.876. That means you round, and then because of this 6, you have to round this 7 up to an 8. 88%. 88% of your payment is interest. 88% of this payment is interest. Can I explain it another way? Every dollar that's going to this mortgage, 88 cents out of every dollar goes to interest. 88 cents out of every dollar. You're paying off your house with 12 cents out of every dollar you're paying towards the mortgage. 12 cents. That is ridiculous. And we're wondering, even people who do well financially, I mean, they're killing it. Would they be able to do even better if they didn't have to pay 88 cents out of every dollar? 88% of your payment going to interest just to borrow money. What if you could borrow money for a lot less? Okay. What if you could track that? So keep this in mind, folks. Whatever your mortgage is right now, you could be paying less interest. Whatever your mortgage is right now. So keep this in mind. How the lending practice is done today is tantamount to financial violence. We're going to be working with our team. I've already started work on next week's show, and I'm going to send that over to our production team today. One of the shows is Slavery by Another Name. Slavery by Another Name. How lending is practiced today. Oh, you don't want to miss that show. Okay, you don't want to miss that show. Okay, that's going to be next Friday's show. Slavery by Another Name. Lending today. That's what it is today. Lending today is nothing more than slavery and I mean exactly what I'm saying. It's not a play on words. Listen, how many of you that are listening right now have ever had a class on how lending actually works? We've never been taught this. We've never been taught this. Did you know, listen, you already know that it was illegal in this country to teach slaves how to read. Illegal. Okay, we're going to get into that. And if you knew how to read, listen, you could learn. If you could learn, you could then realize your situation. And if you realize your situation, you could realize you could do something about it. And because of slave uprisings and revolts, people were told that they couldn't congregate, they couldn't meet together, they couldn't read, they couldn't write, they couldn't do anything that would increase their knowledge of their situation and what they could do about it. Folks, what do you know about lending today? What have you ever been taught? Have you ever been taught anything at all? Has anybody ever sat you down and said, this is how the bank makes their money? 87%. Has anybody told you that to understand what the bank is doing here is to take the 7% interest rate, 0.07, divide that number by 12. Okay? Divided by 12. Let me get rid of this advertising. Okay? We're going to divide that by 12. Equals 0.0058 and a bunch of threes after that. Then they take this number, 1/12 of the interest rate, because of how the loan is amortized. They take 1/12 of the interest rate and then multiply it by the unpaid balance. Multiply it by $420,000 equals 2450. Look at there, 2450. Now, because of how the loans actually work, when you amortize a loan, it is not one mortgage for $420,000. That first mortgage is done away with. Boom, $420,000. You just paid $2,450 worth of interest on that. And now you paid $344.27 on principal. So now you owe $419,655.73. That's what you owe now. And that's what you owe now, that's a brand new mortgage. Oh, yeah. You thought you were getting one mortgage? If you have a 30-year loan, folks, that's 360 payments. That's 360 separate mortgages. Because this month, if you paid last month the $2,450, now you owe $419,655.73. So they get to charge you again. Yeah, on this amount. So they're going to take that. Interest rate, 0.07, divided by 12 again. All right. And then multiply it by the new principal balance, $419,655.73. So we're going to multiply it by $419,655.73, and it equals $2,447.99. Look here, $2,447.99. And they keep doing that month after month after month. So you have one mortgage, then two, then three, then four, all the way to 360, robbing you, siphoning off your wealth in big chunks. And it's done so smoothly, so effortlessly. We don't even realize our wealth is being siphoned off. Here is your children's inheritance right here on your mortgage, on your car loan, on your credit cards. I am not saying, trust me when I say this, I am not saying don't borrow money. What I am saying is don't borrow money like we've been taught to borrow money with absolutely no education. No education on the process. And so if you're paying, and listen, if you're paying all of that money out, then here's what else is happening. Let me put this on the screen. Shoot. Here we go. All right. There we are. There it is. All right. So we're going to make this a little bigger. Uh-oh. Sorry. Can't use that one. That belongs to somebody. Where we go. Let's get rid of that. Okay. And let's see here. We got this. All right. This and this. Okay, I'll use these two. All right, because these are examples. All right, there we go, right there. All right, so we've got $360,000. I'm sorry, $630,000. Let's make this a little bit bigger. $630,000. $38,000 in loans and $20,000 in credit cards for a total of $688,000. If we do this the way the bank wants, then how much interest do they want on this? They want $320,000 interest for a total of $1,008,000 paid back. $1,008,741 paid back. Now, here's what's crazy about it. I need you all to focus in here. This family does extremely well financially. And they pay their bills on time every single month. But what they're unaware of is their interest consumption. How much interest are they consuming each month? Totally unaware. The average family consumes 35 to 39% of their take-home pay just in interest alone. So, if you're doing extremely well and 35%, oh man, 35% of your take-home pay is paying interest and you're still doing well, aren't you encouraged? Listen to me now. Aren't you encouraged to keep doing the same thing? Are you not encouraged to keep borrowing and working and paying like you've always done because you're doing extremely well financially? Your home is paid for, you're paying for your house. You have an 800 to 850 credit score. You vacation where you want. You have high limits on your credit cards. Okay. Your kids can go to school anywhere they want. You drive whatever you want, and you've got money in the bank. So all of this is still going on while 35 to 39% of your take-home pay is paying interest on these loans. That's what's happening. So we're encouraged to do it because we have the illusion of freedom. We think we're free because we can go where we want, we can do what we want, and we're making good money. And listen, we whatever restaurant we can go to, we can do that. But look here, what if people knew this? Instead of giving the bank $320,000, what if you could do everything else I just talked about and only pay about $80,000 in interest? $80,661 in interest. What if you could do that instead of giving the bank $320,000? Still own the house for a lot less interest. Still use your credit cards for a lot less interest. Still buy your car for a lot less interest. I am a proponent. I am pro borrowing money. I am not pay cash for everything. I don't believe in that. I believe as long as we have this system, learn how to take advantage of it so that you can use your debt and turn it into wealth. Are you listening to me, everybody? So if I can do this, that's $240,000 that I normally would have to pay, but now I don't have to pay to do the exact same thing I was doing before. 240 grand. That's a lot of money. That's over $250,000. I don't have to pay an interest now. That's a 75% reduction in interest. And instead of paying everything off in about 27 or 28 years, you could pay off everything in about 7 years because you don't have all of that money going to interest, and the money that was going to interest is now used to pay down the principal on your loans. Okay, watch this now. Watch this. Here's where we're getting to. You see this? I need to make this bigger. What if let's return to let's make this a little bit bigger here. I need to make this bigger. Look at this. Take the money that you didn't give to the bank and turn it into $2,617,681. Yeah, that part. You see, if you're giving your money to the bank, you're not able to invest that money and turn it into $2,617,681. And that is our projected wealth building. Get this, at 1% return on your money. 1% return on your money. The national average is around 6 to 7% return on your money. Do you see that the way borrowing is handled now? And listen, we're going to get into this. Like I said, next week, slavery by another name. $2,617,000 it will not be in your family's legacy because we've given away the money, the seed money that we are to sow, the seed money that we are to plant, the seed money that we're to invest to reap a rich and generous harvest. And this only takes about 20 years at 1% return on the money. Turn your debt into wealth, $2.6 million. Oh, here's another example. Okay. This one is 390,000. Okay. Now let's make this a little bigger, 390,000. All right. And instead of paying 163,000, these folks can pay 41,000. That's still a 75% reduction in interest, and save 122,000. And over 19 and a half years, turn the money they're not giving to the bank into $1,343,230 at 1% return on your money. 1% return on your money, ladies and gentlemen. What is going on here? Why are we subjected to absolutely no education on how lending actually works? So that we can be kept in the dark, so that we can be made slaves to the lender. Oh, yes, we're going to go over that next week. So that we can give away the inheritance that we're supposed to be putting together for our children's children. We cannot invest our money to make the 1.3 million because we're told this is how you borrow money. Do I have any questions on this? Put your questions in the chat. You can ask your questions live. You can click that link and come into the studio live, and we can have a conversation about this. If you've wondered why it takes so long to pay off your debt, if you've wondered why we're doing what it is that we're doing, if you wondered why is it that we're paying so much interest on these loans, why isn't anybody talking about it? If you've wondered why 9 out of 10 people that you know, 9 out of 10 people that you know will never pay off a mortgage and never be completely out of debt. The system is set up so that we can be in debt our entire working lives. No, not our entire working lives, our entire life. I mean, do you know how many people I know that are ministers, that are in that work for their respective churches, the pastors, the Bible workers, the conference officials? Do you know how many people I know that will go into retirement in debt because we did not know how loans were supposed to work in our favor? Yes, this whole system is actually to work in our favor. But because of the lack of education, our wealth is being our wealth is being siphoned off, and somebody else is getting rich off our money. All right. Good morning. Okay. Shaquita says, good morning. If I have extra money in my checking account, what is a good high yield savings account I can move it in? Thank you. All right. That is a good question. All right. So, Shaquita, let me answer it this way. Let me answer it this way. All right. So, do you know how many people I know that have right now? There are savings accounts that pay 5% interest. Did you know that? There are savings accounts that pay up to 5% interest. They're online banks. You know, don't go to Chase or Wells Fargo or Bank of America or Regions. Not any of the big banks. Okay, because they're paying nothing. All right, they're practically nothing, 1/10 of 1%. But some online banks are paying up to 5%. If you have a brokerage account, you know, like Schwab or Robinhood, something like that, they're paying up to 5% interest for your money. Do you know, I know people who have money in savings, maybe $100,000 in savings at that interest rate? But can I show you something first? Can I show you something first, Shaquita? Let me show you this loan I had up here first. Okay. If you make a mortgage payment here, okay, you make a mortgage payment here, and you have money in the highest, I'm talking about you have your money in savings in the highest interest paying savings account known to man. Okay. The highest savings, the highest interest rates pay on bank accounts known to man, and you have your money there. Can I ask you a question? Can I take $346.28 out of that high yield savings account? Can I take that money? Because can I withdraw $346.28 out of that savings account? And let's say I make my first payment here in January on this mortgage, I could take $346 out of that savings account. Okay. That's paying 5% a year. Okay. Let me show you here. Let me show you here. Okay. Even if I have $100,000 in the bank, that's 10,000. 100,000 times, okay, 5% for the year. Uh-oh. Okay, wait a second. 100,000, okay, times 0.05 equals, oh, wait a second. That can't be right. That can't be right. 100,000, 100,000 times 0.05. Oh, $5,000. Look at there. $5,000. Okay. If you had $100,000 in there, 5%, you could have $5,000. Or what if you took some of that money out of the savings account? Let's say $346.28. Okay. Let's apply that to mortgage principal. In the same month you made this first payment, and you save $2,447.99. That's money you don't have to pay. Do you realize that a penny saved is a penny earned, and $2,447.99 saved is $2,447 earned. That's money. That's money that you don't have to pay out. Okay. You can treat that as profit now because you didn't have to pay it out. So 300, can I show you what the return on investment is there? So if we take this $2,447.99, Shaquita, and divide it by 346.28. And then we take that number and then multiply it by 100 equals 706% return on your money, not 5. 706% return on your money, not 5. How much money do I keep in bank accounts? Very, very little. Because it's worse than giving the money away. You can't keep your money long. You can't keep your money in the bank long enough. Watch this now. You can't keep your money in the bank long enough at a certain percentage rate to stay ahead of inflation and the fees that they charge for keeping your money in the bank. Banks are not where you want to store the bulk of your money. I'm just telling you, because they don't pay you enough to do it. Can I ask you a question, Shaquita? When a bank has our money, are they lending it out at 5%? What are they lending it out as? What are they lending it out for? Okay, what are they lending it out for? Most banks pay 1/10 of 1% interest, less than 1% interest on your money in savings. There are a few institutions out there that are trying to encourage you to give money to them so that they can invest it. And if they're paying you 5%, ask yourself this question. Even if they're paying 5%, how much are people paying them to borrow your money that you're investing with them? 8, 9, 10, 15, 20%. Is that what they're doing with the money that you're giving them so they can pay you 5? 706% return on your money by investing that money. Now remember, what I did for $100,000 for a year at 5% is $5,000. Or I can take $5,000 out of my savings and apply it to mortgage principal. Watch this, Shaquita, watch this. $5,000 out of my savings, apply it to this mortgage. Watch this. How much interest am I saving or making by investing in my mortgage $5,000? That's $34,000 in interest over 14 months. Where else can you invest $5,000 for 14 months and make $34,000? Says Shaquita says, my sister is a banker and she doesn't disclose this information. Wow, oh wow. You see, if we could leverage our mortgages, okay? I listen, I love to borrow the money for the mortgage. I even love borrowing money for student loans. Did you know that? Oh yeah. I am a big fan of student loans done the right way. Done the right way. I had a client who the daughter was getting ready to go to college, and they were getting ready to write a check for their tuition here at Oakwood University, which is a private Christian school here in Huntsville, Alabama. And at that time, I believe it was like $23,000 for the year at that time. Okay. And I said, you're getting ready to write that check? And it says, well, yeah. It says, well, why are you doing that? It says, because I can afford to write the check. I've got the money set aside for my daughter's education. I said, well, have you ever thought about student loans? It says, well, why? Why borrow them? Why borrow the money and pay them that interest? I said, okay, well, if you get a student loan, when does the interest kick in on those loans? And this is as soon as she graduates. As soon as she graduates, then you start having to pay interest on those loans as soon as you graduate. I said, okay, what if you did this instead? Take the money that you were going to spend on the education, write the check for that. Why don't you invest that money into some sort of safe investment that's paying you 6 to 10% interest a year? Why don't you invest that money? Okay. And then get the student loans. Right. And then she goes to school for 4 years on the student loans. And every year you've put that money in your investment, right? For whatever interest rate you were getting. And then when she graduates, take the money out of the investment and pay off all the loans in one day. How about that? And keep the change. Listen, I'm a big fan of borrowing money the right way. Leveraging the bank's money and not paying them interest is something that you need to understand carefully. We've added a brand new program. Part of we've updated the opportunity cost calculator, our AI system, to help us to make even more money. All right. Stacy Johnson says, I used to work at a bank and we were not told this process, only how to sell it to people. That's why she never disclosed it. You're right, Stacy. She didn't disclose it because she didn't know it. It wasn't because she knew it and didn't share it. No, bankers are only taught to sell products. They're not taught to understand the wherewithal, the process by which all the money is made. Okay? Because if they taught it to you, do you think just maybe some of this information would leak out to the general public? Shaquita said, that was me a year ago. Paid cash for tuition at Oakwood because I had it. Shaquita, what are you going to do now? Oh my goodness. What are you going to do now? Listen, how do we use our money? How do we use our money to turn it into wealth instead of giving it to spending it and giving it to the bankers so that they can get rich? See, there's two things that we do that we shouldn't do. Pay cash for everything. Don't do it. people with resources should learn how to think like a bank. Okay. I just came back from where were we? Montgomery, Alabama. And the bank downtown Montgomery, Alabama, the tallest building, I think, is the Regions Bank building. The Regions Bank building. That's right. Do it the P.I.L.L method way. Thanks, Shaquita. Listen, the largest building there was the Regions Bank building. Now, if borrowing money is so bad, now there are a lot of people who believe that borrowing money is evil, it's wrong, it's wasteful. If it was so wrong, if it was so wasteful, then why is Regions huge? Chase is huge. Bank of America. Oh my gosh. Wells Fargo. Listen, all of these banks are making not millions, not billions. They're making trillions of dollars just in interest alone. They're making trillions of dollars. And what money are they using to make these trillions of dollars? What money are they using, ladies and gentlemen? Tell me. Can you tell me? The banks in your town, what money are they using to make all of this money? Do you know? I'll wait for a couple of exactly. Stacy says hours. So in essence, Stacy, are they borrowing our money? Are they not the biggest borrowers in town? Are they not leveraging that money to make more money? Are they getting wealthy by borrowing money? Can we take a page out of their book and learn how to turn our debt into wealth? Why shouldn't we learn how to borrow for our education, for our houses, for our cars, and then learn how to pay them less money in interest so that we could take that money? Listen, you can track the money that you were supposed to pay. You can track it. Did you know that? You can track that money so that you can pay a lot less interest. Yeah. And then when you're tracking it, then you get to see, well, I didn't pay all of that interest that the bank wanted that normally I would pay and still do very well. I could do very well and still pay 35 to 39% of my take-home pay in interest. I could still do well. But if I didn't have to pay all of that and still buy the car, still buy the house, still buy the education, still, still use the credit cards and think like a bank, where can I invest my money so it can make me money instead of giving it to them so that I can pay all of that interest traditionally that's expected of me? Only because I've never been taught to read an amortization schedule. Let me put something else on the screen here for you. And take a look at some of the things that we're doing here at the P.I.L.L method. All right. While I'm getting that ready, why don't we go ahead and I want to play you a video. We're going to play a video for you. Dr. Eric Thomas, who's the #1 motivational speaker in the entire world. Dr. Eric Thomas used the P.I.L.L method to effectively pay a lot less interest, take that interest money that would have been paid to the bank and paid off his house with it. And I'm sure he's investing that money elsewhere. All right. I don't know where. I don't need to know where. All I know is he didn't give it to the bankers. Let's hear from Dr. Eric Thomas, and I'll be right back.
Listen to me, y'all. But one of his mentees took us through one of their programs, and I paid off my mortgage. But guess what happened? My marriage went to a whole nother level. And you know why? Because my wife is a security freak. And even when I blew up, my wife would be like, oh, you blew up, but how long is you gonna keep making this kind of money? I was like, I don't know, forever. She's like, you sure? Because I'm gonna keep my license as a nurse just in case you don't. So when I paid the house off, my boy was like, you ain't gotta do that, you can do this. But when I paid the house off using that program, it took the stress level all the way down from my wife because we no longer had a mortgage. Does that make sense? That thing that was coming every month, that was getting on her nerves, we didn't have that no more. And so she was at rest.
Listen, folks, if you want to do like Dr. Eric Thomas, if you want to know more about how we're doing what we're doing, then go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, and get a savings and earnings report. ICE, the number 10, the letter K.com, and get a savings and earnings report. Just scroll down underneath his picture and click on the button that says get a savings and earnings report and fill this out. You can be well on your way to stop letting the banks take advantage of you. We're going to not only give you technology, but the total financial education you should have received back in grade school. We're going to turn the financial education system on its head here at the P.I.L.L Method and teach you what you should have learned about money in the first place, so we can stop making these decisions that we've been told to make. We've been told to pay cash because it's cheaper. No, cash is not cheaper. Borrowing money correctly is cheaper than cash because you can take your cash and invest it, and then you have those earnings. If you do not invest your cash, then you have to subtract the earnings you could have made from your legacy. So every dollar you don't invest has to be subtracted from your total net worth. That's why paying cash is more expensive than borrowing money because of all the money you didn't make with that money. You can make more money with your money than you will spend borrowing money. Are you hearing me? The money that you spend borrowing money is down here. The money that you make investing your money is up here. So, in other words, does it make sense to learn how to do what the bank does, pay a little bit of money for borrowing money, and then take that money that you didn't use, all right, to pay cash for stuff, and then use that money and invest it elsewhere to make big money? Especially if you like the idea of passive income. Take your money and invest it in such a way as that you can make passive income. You start here by getting a free savings report. Know the month, day, and year you could be debt free. Know how much interest you could save. And then in that same report, we will give you an idea of how much interest you can make by not giving that money to the bank and investing it in your family. How about that? How about that? ice10k.com to start the process. Also, ladies and gentlemen, here's the other thing. You want to start teaching your children. Remember the fact that we didn't learn? Start teaching your children. Get my book. Get my book. Just click on this button down here under on ice10k.com and get my book. And when you get my book, you can then start sharing this information with your children. Out of 33 million titles, there's only one book that begins to tell you how to think about your money. This book right here, How to Understand How Lending Actually Works and what you could do about it. And it gives you the tools. And one of the tools is learning how to read an amortization schedule. Another tool is the is the our AI system, the opportunity cost calculator, putting all of this information together. The new financial literacy, along with the technology, will take you far. Start reading the book and sharing this information with your children, with your grandchildren, with your nieces and nephews, with anybody who will listen. Get the information out there. Okay? So here's some of the things. Now, if you're already a P.I.L.L Method client, you're going to see some changes in your program. So you need to get a hold of us right away for a new coaching session so you can see what's happening. Okay? So let me pull this over here. All right. We've added something. Okay. It's called choose a milestone. Okay. Choose a milestone. And in that, you can now tell, we've added, as you're working on your debt, you can now see, when will I be done? People have asked me this because it says, Don, when will we be done paying off our credit cards? I would always say, I'm not sure. Okay. All I know is your total debt is paid off, years to pay off. Okay. Let's change this. And this is like 11.8 years. Total debt paid off in about 11.8 years. But when will we be done with the credit cards? Well, we could put this in here now. We can find out when we'll be done with a certain credit card. So if we have several, when will that card be paid off? Okay. Let me show you something else that is absolutely fabulous that we have now on the program. Go to credit cards. And I've said this often. I've said this very, very often. So let's go down to where we have this MasterCard, and we're going to click on edit. Okay. Now, what if now the interest rate on this is 18.49%? But what if we told credit card that our interest rate is 0 instead? All right. And its current rate is an introductory rate. We can click on that and tell the program, well, we have a 0% introductory rate. Okay. And we can tell that our new interest rate is going to be 17%, and it adjusts, let's just say a year from now. Okay. 2025, and what's today, the 15th. All right. So, all right, for 1 year. Now, what do most people do when they have a credit card like this, that's 0% interest for 1 year? What do? Now, remember, we're learning how to turn debt into wealth. We're learning how to turn debt into wealth. Okay. So we can, if we know that if we don't pay this off in time, then we have interest. We have retroactive interest for the entire year. For the entire year, that's due if we don't pay this off in 12 months. So what do most people do? They try to pay the card off in 1 year. So if we click on this button here and then save it, it says interest is retroactive if not paid in full by the end of the introductory period. Okay. And then we click save on that. So when it comes time to start paying off the debt, then the program will say, we need to start focusing on this MasterCard so we can get it paid off. Okay. But I've told people, don't do that. Don't pay off that card. Why? Here's why. Let's go back to the card. Remember, we're learning how to borrow money wisely so that we can make more money. All right. So right now, we're supposed to save $150,000 in interest. $150,000 in interest. Let's write that down. Okay. 150,000 461. That's how much we're supposed to save in interest. All right. But we're paying off a card that's 0%. But if we go back to the accounts, watch this now, go back to the accounts and click on the edit for the MasterCard, we can tell the program here, switch from minimum payment to statement balance at the end of the introductory period. Uh-oh, that's what we want to do. We want this one. Switch to the minimum payment from the minimum payment. So it's going to pay the minimum payment on the debt, and just before the end of the period, it's going to pay that loan off. So pay that credit card off. So let's switch to this and see what happens. 100. So we go from taking that money from the bank, all right? Taking that money from the bank, all right? And watch this. Watch this. We're going to go to action plan. All right? Go to action plan. And the program says, instead of paying off a credit card, instead of paying off the credit card, that's 0% interest, where we're saving no interest by paying that off. So let's put the money on the signature loan. So we're making minimum payments to the credit card so we can take that extra money, put it on the signature loan, and save $285 in interest here. Okay? If we put that money on the credit card, we're saving no interest. If we put that money on the credit card, we're saying, okay, let's pay minimum payments on the signature loan and give the signature loan interest money they don't need. Why pay off the free money in order to keep paying interest on the money that's charging you interest? I've said that for years. So now we have it as part of the program. Okay. So now we'll scroll down a little bit farther, putting money away in savings, and then on the signature loan, and then we pay off the signature loan, save an additional $31 in interest. All right. And then we're going to put on the mortgage, okay, $343.19, and save $1,689 in interest on the mortgage. Do you see what's going on here, ladies and gentlemen? We are taking the financial establishment and turning it upside down. Most people who get these cards that are 0% interest, they want to hurry up and pay it off before the interest before the interest checks in, and then you're paying a bunch of interest at the end. Oh no! Here's what you do: use the bank's money. I'm going to borrow your money, and the money I was going to use to pay you off, I'm going to put it on my mortgage, and just this one move, $343.19, it's going to save me $1,689 in interest that I do not have to pay now on the mortgage. Do you see that? Well, Don, what's going to happen then? Well, the program will automatically, every now and then, put small amounts of money, keep it in the savings account, so that when it's time next year, this time next year, the amount of money that's needed to pay off the credit card will be in your savings account right there to pay the credit card off and pay no interest for borrowing that money. But in the meantime, I'm using the bank's money that they've loaned me, that I used to buy something, all right, that we needed. I used their money to buy something that we needed. And then I got that money for free. I'm using their money for free for an entire year. Now, that could be something I bought. It could be a balance transfer. Okay. So there's a lot of things we could be doing with that money that the bank, and then we're going to turn it into wealth. So for this family, can I go to the reports on here and go to net worth? And instead of giving all that money to the bank, we can go to wealth accumulation. All right. Their payoff date is going to be instead of 20 years or 30 years from now, in let's see, 24, 50, in 2054, they're going to be out of debt in 2035 instead. Okay, instead of 2054. Okay, and so now what they can do is take a look at this. Start putting money away. Okay, once they're paid off by 2054, when they were supposed to be out of debt, can I show you where they would be if they had that money to invest? 2054, they would have an extra $582,000. And that's at 1% return on their money. When everybody else is just anybody else that had this loan, if they were fortunate enough to pay off everything, to pay off that loan in 30 years, they'd have zero. Well, this family is going to have $582,000 in their investment, and that's at 1% interest. If they can get the average of 6 to 9%, it would be over $1 million. Ladies and gentlemen, I listen. What else can I tell you here? If you want to take debt and turn it into wealth, number one, you need to be educated on what's really going on, what's siphoning off your money. Understand the opportunity cost of extra interest paid that you cannot invest. Right? So let's look at opportunity cost before we shut everything down today. All right? So we're going to take a look at opportunity cost. All right. And it says here, the loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen. Okay. So if you choose one alternative, like take your money and pay it to the bank like the bank wants you to, then what is the loss of potential gain of all of that interest that you could have saved? And in this case, these folks are going to save over $150,000 in interest. That's just the average. This is a small loan. Okay, that's just the average. But if they had a larger loan, all right, they had a larger loan like this one, then we could save nearly over $300,000 in interest, maybe nearly $400,000 in interest instead that we could invest. So what is going on here? I need you to focus here for just a second. I know you're ready to go. What is the loss of potential gain from other alternatives when one alternative is chosen? The money that you could have made that you did not make should be considered a loss. One more time. The money that you could have made that you did not make should be considered a loss. And folks, if we keep paying 35 to 39% of our take-home pay for interest consumption, even though we're doing very well financially, we're leaving millions of dollars on the table. Get your savings and earnings report today. Find out when you could be debt-free. Find out how much interest you can save, and find out how much wealth you can create by turning that money into by taking that money that you could have paid in interest that you didn't pay and invested in your family. Can you start the process today? Can you start it today? And all you need to do is go to ice10k.com, ice10k.com, and get a savings and earnings report. Start it there. Get your savings and earnings report. Start it right here. and understand that using education and technology, you can literally save the absolute most in interest that is mathematically possible for you, and then take that money and invest it. This program that we're talking about today, the P.I.L.L method, and the P.I.L.L method education, and the P.I.L.L method opportunity cost calculator, our AI cloud-based computing system. It is the most powerful money management, wealth building, debt elimination system on the entire planet. Nobody, and I mean nobody, Dave Ramsey, Susie Orman, anybody else that's using any other program cannot save you more money than the P.I.L.L method. Nobody. Guaranteed. And I'll back it up in writing. So if you want the very best that's out there, this is it. Nobody beats this program in saving money and paying off debt, and then taking that money and showing you how you can invest that money. We have a whole team that does nothing but talk about investing, building wealth, and showing you how you can do that. It's all a part of our program. If you want that for your family, instead of having your wealth siphoned off, start that process today. Okay? Start the process today. I want to thank everybody for being here. On Sunday, we're going to be back here on Sunday. You do not want to miss it. Okay? We're going to be teaching an insurance masterclass here on Sunday. Insurance masterclass. Okay? Did you know that life insurance has that certain types of life insurance you can use while you're alive? Did you know that? Did you know certain types of life insurance you could borrow from it and invest that money, and still your life insurance policy makes money? Did you know that? Did you know that you can insure your children for a lifetime? Make sure that they can always get in life insurance no matter what happens in the near future. Like me, you don't want to be like me and have a term policy. Okay, when I first got married, 20 years was so far in the future. We got 20-year level term. All right, and I was told, get term and invest the rest. Get term and invest the rest. Well, that was way back then, and I really didn't get around to investing way back then. That's before we started the P.I.L.L method. Well, I've outlived my life insurance. And in the meantime, I'm a cancer survivor. And because I'm a cancer survivor, it's very, very, very difficult to get any type of insurance now. Very difficult and very expensive. So we're going to use my experience and other people's experience, and we're going to be going over how to use and understand life insurance. And we're going to have a master life insurance agent here. Perry Jeffries is going to be back here, the investment counselor. Perry Jeffries is going to be back here Sunday morning at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central, teaching us all about life insurance in a life insurance masterclass. And do you know what the cost of this masterclass is? $0. $0. You want to be here for this, okay? And some people call it free 99. Free 99 is what we're going to be charging for this class, masterclass on insurance, on how you can level up, make money, enhance your legacy, how you can leverage insurance to buy property, to buy cars, to buy a lot of stuff, and your insurance still makes money, and get you ready for retirement, tax-free money in retirement. Oh my goodness. You want to be here for the insurance masterclass on Sunday. Ladies, thank you so much for being here. I'm going to get out of here now. We're going to play one more video before we go, though. All right. But I want to say thank you for being here. That get your savings and earnings report, get the book, sign up to become an affiliate. All of that is on my ICE 10K card, my digital business card, ICE10K.com. And ICE stands for Interest Cancellation Expert. That's me. So go ahead and get all of that thing done and be back here on Sunday. And if you can't be here on Sunday live, catch the replay. But make sure that when you come to YouTube, please subscribe, then subscribe, like the videos, and comment, please. When you do that, that helps the algorithm take our videos far and wide. Just by doing that, you're helping other people learn what they need to learn. All right. So happy Sabbath to everyone that applies. We'll be in church tomorrow. So don't call me because I'll be in church. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much. Here's our last video for today, and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. How many want to know how to pay off all of your debt in an average of 7 to 9 years? You can do all of this without refinancing, without change to your budget, without sacrificing lifestyle.
Me and my husband do the P.I.L.L method, and last year we were able to pay down $33,000 on our mortgage without feeling like we were poor. We still did tons of entertaining things and enjoyed our family.
You don't have to eat beans and rice every day. You don't have to cut up your credit cards. You don't have to drive a 30-year-old car. You don't have to sell pizzas at night to pay off your mortgage. All you need to do is pay the bank less interest. That's what we're talking about today. Here is what P.I.L.L method stands for: prepayment of principal, isolation of principal amounts, leverage, and liquidity. You understand it? You have a way of getting out of debt more efficiently. The interest rate you're quoted is not the interest rate you pay. You think you're buying a $500,000 home. The true cost of that home is what? $758,000. Total interest paid as a percentage of principal, 51.777%. That's what's going on with this loan. The ability to read and defeat an amortization schedule is not taught at any level of financial education. I need you to understand the power of a penny. You will not hear what I'm talking about from Dave Ramsey. Do you know why? Because I own the copyright. I literally wrote the book.
But Don has some valuable information that can contribute to the quality of a person's life. And it only costs you a few dollars. It's his book. Why not get that?
I'm going to go through the P.I.L.L method myself with some of my investment properties. So I'm going to link up with Don, and then I'm going to sit down with him, show him my investment portfolio, and see how I can eliminate interest.